This is the history of the internet. In just over 50 years, a small research experiment grew into a network that now connects more than 5 billion people. This is the story of how it was built, the people who imagined it, and the ideas that made a global conversation possible. Our story begins in the late 1950s during the Cold War. The United States feared that a single attack could wipe out its communication lines. Researchers began asking a bold question. Could you build a network with no central hub, one that kept working even if parts of it were destroyed? The answer came from an idea called packet switching, developed independently by Paul Barron in America and Donald Davies in Britain. Instead of sending a message down one fixed line, you chop it into small packets. Each packet finds its own path across the network, and the pieces are reassembled at the other end. In 1969, this idea became real. A project funded by the United States Defense Department created ARPANET. On the 29th of October, a student tried to send a word login between two computers. The system crashed after 2 letters, so the very first message ever sent was simply low. ARPANET grew quickly, but it had a problem. Different networks spoke different languages and could not talk to each other. To connect them, 2 engineers, Vince Cerf and Bob Kahn, designed a shared set of rules in the 1970s. These rules became known as TCP and IP. TCP and IP were a kind of universal handshake. Any computer on any network anywhere in the world could now exchange data as long as it followed these protocols. On the 1st of January, 1983, ARPANET officially switched to TCP and IP. Many people call this the true birthday of the modern internet. As more machines joined, remembering long strings of numbers became impossible. So in 1983, the domain name system was born. It works like a phone book for the internet, translating a friendly name like a .com address into the numbers that computers actually use to find each other. Through the 1980s, the network spread beyond the military into universities and research labs. Email became the first killer application, letting scientists across continents trade messages in minutes. But the internet was still a tool for experts, full of commands and code that ordinary people found baffling. Everything changed in 1989. A British scientist named Tim Berners-Lee, working at CERN in Switzerland, proposed a way to link documents together using the internet. He called it the World Wide Web. He gave the world 3 simple inventions that still power every site you visit. Those 3 inventions were the web page format called HTML, the address system called the URL, and the delivery rule called HTTP. Crucially, Berners-Lee gave it all away for free, with no patents and no fees. That single decision let the web grow without limits. In the early 1990s, the web was still text on a plain screen. Then in 1993, a browser called Mosaic arrived. For the first time, pictures and words appeared together on the same page, and you could click your way around with a mouse. The web suddenly felt alive. The mid-1990s brought a gold rush. Companies like Netscape, Yahoo, and a young bookstore called Amazon raced online. Investors poured money into anything ending in .com. Excitement turned into a bubble, and when it burst around the year 2000, many companies vanished overnight. But the survivors were strong. A search engine called Google had quietly built a better way to find things, ranking pages by how many others linked to them. Out of the wreckage of the bubble came the foundations of the modern web, faster, smarter, and far more useful than before. The next leap was social. In the 2000s, sites like Wikipedia, Facebook, and YouTube let everyday people create the content themselves. The internet stopped being something you only read and became something you actively wrote, shared, and filmed. Billions of voices joined the conversation. Then, the internet left the desk and went into our pockets. When the iPhone launched in 2007, it put a full web browser in the palm of your hand. Mobile apps, wireless data, and touchscreens meant the network was now with us everywhere, all the time. Behind the scenes, the cloud quietly transformed everything. Instead of storing files on your own machine, your photos, messages, and documents now live in vast data centers spread around the planet. These warehouses of computers, linked by undersea cables, are the hidden engine of daily life online. Today, the internet carries far more than human voices. Cars, doorbells, watches, and factories all speak across it, a world of connected devices known as the Internet of Things. And a new wave of artificial intelligence, trained on the open web, is reshaping how we search, create, and work. Yet this remarkable system faces real challenges. Questions of privacy, security, misinformation, and unequal access remind us that the network reflects both the best and the worst of the people who use it. The internet is not finished. It is still being shaped by all of us every single day. So remember this. The internet was never built by one genius or one company. It grew from a simple, generous idea that open standards shared freely could connect the whole world. From 2 crashing letters in 1969 to billions of conversations today, it remains humanity's greatest experiment in connection.